Hey y'all, I'm back in New York. Had the road trip and everything, so my bad. It took a while to come back on. All right, but here's round three. Clips go first. Life would get worse for you if I ever decided to get personal, because the information I got is as important as it gets. But luckily for you, I'ma dedicate this round for all my niggas who love guns and think that calico is more important than a clip. You see, a calico is tough as shit. But if you put a silencer on it, then it won't make a sound. Dot, dot, dot. You know what? Just relax for a second and let me break this down. So apparently he thinks that calico is not more important than a clip. A clip that goes into a gun, which can be a calico. And since calico is talking all through his rounds, he's like, but if you put a silencer on it, it won't make a sound. All right, so he's easing in. Next bar. You named yourself after a simian automatically thought that you would make. All right. You named yourself after a simian automatically thought that would make you a challenger. And then you bumped into something loaded and realized you wasn't on his caliber. It was designed for Lux to die that night. And I thought about this shit a while ago. How does a nigga dress for a funeral and bring a casket and walked out unscratched against a calico? So I love this Challenger semi-automatic, because a Challenger is a gun, all right, which is a semi-automatic gun. Then I liked the loaded bar, all right, because loaded Lux battle Calico, all right. He said he wasn't on his caliber, meaning on his level, okay. And then he's basically talking about the battle, how loaded Lux came at towards the end of this bar to the battle dressed like he was going to a funeral, and he did bring a casket. Okay, and how he walked out unscratched against a calico, which could be a calico gun or the battle rapper calico. Next bar. But URL let him put my brothers on a big screen. He put my bros and my cousin on it. And he had you're a calico. Put a muzzle on it. You should have stayed inside a chamber. And then you realize you wasn't that nigga. God was trying to give Calico a shot. He thought his moves were kind of bigger. Now when a nigga says loaded Lux, his body goes into a shiver. I think it's crazy how he named himself Calico and now the word loaded is a trigger. Okay, so in the beginning of the bar, he told Calico, put a muzzle on it. A muzzle could be a muzzle over the mouth so you can't speak, or a muzzle, over a barrel of a gun, which the bullets come out at. All right, he said you should have stayed inside a chamber. Okay, bullets go into a chamber of a gun. God give Calico a shot, meaning a shot at battling loaded Lux. All right, and he said every time somebody mentions loaded Lux, he shivers like he's scared or whatever. Okay, and at the end, I like when he says, and now the word loaded is a trigger, meaning it triggers Calico, the battle rapper, whenever he hears somebody says his name loaded Lux, or a trigger, you pull a trigger because of a loaded gun. All right, so that was nice. Next bar. I used to disrespect niggas, ain't care, right? I used to only think it was a check to follow. But one day I got hit with a round. Let's just say Clips got respect for Hollow. See, that's where you come in at. Probably tell me it's karma. And I already knew you was going to say something about my father. But I ain't seen that man since I was 11 years old. Why do you niggas even bother? I don't need him and he feel he don't need Clips. I guess that make him a revolver. So this is all like gun bars and schemes and stuff. Okay, so I like in the first beginning of the bar, he says one day he got hit with a round. Let's say that Clips got respect for Hollow. So the battle with Clips versus Hollow. So he lost that battle and he got respect for Hollow. All right, and then I like where he said at the end of the bar, I don't need him and he feel he don't need Clips. So I guess that make him a revolver, because a revolver is a 6-shot gun. Okay, usually it don't have a clip. Next bar. Speaking of revolver, get a grip, because the niggas that you call bros will try killing you. But you a calico. I don't expect you to understand what's going on in your cylinder. You see, these niggas that you claiming that you love will be the same niggas that'll put steel in you. Oh, they love you now because you a calico. Wait till you become old in a Dillinger. All right, so I like, he said, he was, pointing out to Calico's crew because a lot of his friends was heckling Charlie through his rounds. Okay, and Charlie throughout this round kept saying, stop talking through during my round. Stop talking through my round. He kept saying that over and over. Okay, so he was saying that, speaking of revolver, telling them to get a grip. You know how it could be a grip of a gun. Then he tells Calico, I don't expect you to understand what's going on in your cylinder. I mean, I don't think you understand going on in your head. Okay, but we know a cylinder goes in the gun. All right, and then I like at the end of the bar when he says, wait till you get old in a Dillinger. And we know Dillingers are old guns. They were made back in the 1800s, and they're old and small. So next bar he goes, my nigga, stop it. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Calico, but you going to end up getting a rocket. I'm trying to teach him before he become 50, Cal, and don't make a profit. My nigga, your man keep running his lips. He going to be 38 without a profit. I can't knock it. One more time and he going to let me run out with this option. Because you know what he trying to say? He said Clips is kind of corny. Wow. You don't get it, but you understand the story now. Because all he going to do is leave URL when he 39 and go back to RBE when he 40. Cal. So he was getting frustrated and he just went off. And it's amazing to me how he could just come off the top like that. You know what I'm saying? So I like, at the end when he says, because all he do is leave URL when he 39 and go back to RBE when he 40. Cal, we know the battle rapper 40 Cal, who actually battles over there at RBE. That's another battle rap league. Okay, so that was fire. And a rocket, I like when he said in the beginning, but you going to end up getting a rocket. A rocket is actually a gun. That's another name for a gun. Okay, so that was fire. Now, after that bar, he had the crowd, going crazy. And then he kept saying again, stop talking through my rounds. Damn, stop talking through my rounds. Because Calico just kept doing it, trying to throw him off his square, basically. Last bar. No matter what stage I'm on, Cal, can we honestly admit that Clip spit mean? You want to know how bitch get on Calico with F beams? You from Detroit. You mentioned Nick Cannon. You ain't got an Eminem verse? I know that hurt when you got big, big dreams. Hey, Ferg, ain't that crazy how Calico never got an M16? Hey, Ferg, that ain't crazy how Calico never got an M16? So I like this bar because remember, if you know your rap history, how Eminem had bars for Fergie. Fergie was dissed by Eminem. Plus, not too long ago, Nick Cannon and Eminem had beef. Okay, and Nick Cannon had a little album called The Invitation, and he actually let Charlie Clips and even Hitman Holla spit on, had some verses in the song. Okay, so M16 is actually something that Eminem calls his bars. All right, he calls his bars M16. So basically, in this bar, Clips is trying to tell Calico, oh, I know you got big, big dreams. I know you wish you could have spit some bars, on Nick's Cannon album, like how him and Hitman Holla did. All right, or Eminem, could have had some bars for him for that M16, because that's what he called bars. All right, so that was kind of nice. Plus, they had Ferg, because when he said, hey, Ferg, ain't that crazy? Ferg, this guy named Ferg was standing on the stage. So, all gun bars, all schemes, which was amazing to me, because you could tell he was freestyling the whole entire time. And not only was he freestyling, but he had a lot of double entendres. You know what I'm saying? And he was able to get through this, even though Calico was talking through his round. All right, so he really overcame it, and he had a lot of haymaker bars. So I was actually impressed with Clips. So now we're gonna go to Calico round 3. This the round I break you down, cause I could see what you doing. You fucking up half the culture with your corny influence. 4-bar buildups every round from the Clip. His wordplay is way too outdated to match with a wordsmith. Who you down with? I know the lynch mob ain't co-sign this. Nigga, I heard Lou, Sims, and Ferris making your daddy sit down when he pissed. Then you hear, pause real quick, you hear Farrah Funeral in the crowd talking about, what? Wait? Then Calico says, yeah, as if he thinking that Farrah's feeling his bar. But then Charlie Clips says, no, she thought you said Farrah, idiot. Like, nah, she ain't feeling your bar. She thought you said, her name. So then CALICOE started mimicking Clips, saying, stop talking through my rounds, acting like he Clip. Stop talking through my round. So he repeats this bar and he finishes and says, when it's time for visits, they don't let him write down on a list. They sent him off to PC. Heard they found him a bitch. They taking all his commissary. Last child was at 6. I'm just telling you people the lifestyle of a snitch. So he's basically just let it be known that Clip's daddy sat down when he pissed. Lou Sims and Farris making his daddy sit down when he pissed. Okay, they don't write him down on a list. All right, he found a bitch, meaning homosexuality. They taking all his commissary, and he's letting us know the lifestyle of a snitch. All right, he gonna forever be a bitch. The new fans like the battle. Why he just keep talking about his daddy? But the true fans like this cow getting his lick back, cause every battle they only talk about his daddy. Conversation with some Harlem niggas, I talk about his daddy, which made me believe he'll be the only nigga that couldn't talk about my daddy. Not the nigga who caught a bow and realized he was in the wrong sport. Judge threw the book at him when he walked in the court. Still gave him that long ass sentence, even though he made a long story short. All right, so in the beginning of the bar, he's saying that people's talking about him or Clips not liking him talk about his daddy, how everybody always talk about his daddy, which is Blueface, and that's really true, and how he can't believe, he wouldn't think he would be talking about his daddy in a bar, in a battle, being that his daddy is a snitch. Okay, and then at the end of this bar is a little scheme, because he had book in it, he had sentence, he had long story short. All right, so he's letting him know that his father walked into court, and they still gave him a long sentence, even though he had his story snitching, even though it was a long story short. Next bar. Why would I talk about anything other than this nigga snitch ass daddy? This the Walking Dead. Real niggas don't talk to the feds. My youngin' walk the Glock when he's sober, but want the knife when he's off the meds. He gonna die in the parking lot thinking he about to talk to a fan. They thinking Chuck Liddell. They found him with a hawk in his head. So this bar was okay. All right, he's saying that why wouldn't he talk about his snitch ass daddy? He gonna keep going through with that angle. Okay, he don't respect it basically. Then at the end of the bar, he's talking about Chuck Liddell, who was a mixed martial artist, who was a UFC light heavyweight champion, and he always wore a mohawk hairstyle. All right, so he says they thinking Chuck Liddell, they found him with a hawk in his head, but of course he mean a bullet in his head. All right, so next bar he says, soon as they sent the bread, his head was my first purchase. Put him in a garbage bag. To my shooters, that's a Birkin. Nigga, you probably told on the wave. We should send your fat ass surfing. Sunday service is never on my mind when we thinking churches. Shout out to the scammers, but I ain't talking frog when we purging. Next shot, got him coughing up blood, burping. The next shot, got him on the phone with God, losing service. So in the beginning, he's saying something about they sent the bread. His head was his first purchase. Put him in a garbage bag. And to his shooters, that's a Birkin. A Birkin is a very expensive bag. But what he's trying to say in the bar is that was an expensive price for his head. Okay, and his shooters called that a Birkin. So that was kind of nice. Then he was like, you probably told on the wave, meaning you snitched on Sue Surf, because he said we should send your fat ass surfing. Then Sunday service, he says something about churches, but churches could be chicken, which is money. All right, and at the end of the bar, he says, got him on the phone with God, losing service, meaning losing his life, and now he see God. Next bar. I'm paying for the funeral. I want to write my name in the casket and curse her. Now he at his new crib talking about pull up. He don't know nobody but death coming through, because guess what? Ain't no kitchen or no basement. We hitting his attic, nigga. This that upper room. So Clips is famous for saying things for, my room and the bathroom and the kitchen, my mother's, my mother's cooking and all this stuff in previous battles. So in this bar, I like when he says, they coming through, guess what? Ain't no kitchen or no basement. We hitting his attic, nigga. This the upper room, which is, you send him up to the upper room, heaven. Okay, the upper room. Next bar. You a comedian on television. You ain't no motherfucking goon. You moved to Florida to marry that little Tampa bitch. DNA told me, and he told me the date was coming soon. So my nigga's waiting to sweep the wedding as soon as you jump the broom. So I know back in the day when I was watching Roots, back in them slavery times, that's how they got married. They had a broom on the floor and they would jump the broom. Okay, so I like at the end when he says to sweep the wedding, but of course, and then you sweep the wedding with a broom. But of course he meant sweep the wedding, sweeping everybody, killing everybody in the wedding before he jumped the broom. So last bar in this round, he goes, if I throw around, it's gonna hold a nigga down like his bitch. Okay, if I throw around, it's gonna hold a nigga down like his bottom bitch. He probably got problems, but I ain't the nigga he got him with. He watched some Cali niggas jump a New York nigga. How he not a bitch? Oh, I forgot. He had slippers on. Well, I must confess, the Yeezy phones must put me in a different mode to the point where you don't even know what type of shit I'm on. Like I ain't never sold no dope. I ain't never did no murder for hire. I'm about to go on a Kanye rant since we know we speaking through the wire. Now when he said, like I ain't never sold no dope, he was literally talking into Charlie Clips's chest, as if Charlie had a wire on him. I ain't never sold no dope. I ain't never did no murder for hire. And then everybody laughing. And then he goes, I'm about to go on a Kanye rant since we know we speaking through the wire. And we know Kanye, remember when he first started through the wire. He even had a song like that, but he had literally had a wire in his jaw. Okay, and then he's speaking into Charlie Clip's chest, acting as if he's speaking through the wire. All right, so that's at the end was kind of nice. All right, so he had a pretty good round, I must admit. He had his storytelling bars as usual, but that's how CALICOE is. That's his style. All right, he had a lot of filler, but his bars were still hitting, and they're all street talk bars. Okay, so I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I really thought Clips had enough. I feel like CALICOE didn't do enough. Okay, Clips, to me, his third round was mostly freestyle, which is hard to do. And they had a lot of double entendres and haymaker bars. So I just think that Clips edged that third round, all right? So I gave Clips a gentleman's 30. I know, CALICOE got a lot of fans. Don't be mad at me. I'm just being honest, and it's my opinion, so please respect it. All right, so I hope y'all enjoy. Please give me that like and subscribe. Later.